the most difficult types is the intuitive introvert. The intuitive extrovert, you find them all hunters, bankers, gamblers. But the introvert, he has intuitions as to the subjective factor. In the inner world, very difficult to understand. What he sees are most uncommon things. He doesn't like to talk of them. If he's not a fool, the people won't understand it. When the introverted intuitive would speak what he really perceives, back then nobody would understand it. He would be misunderstood. And you hardly ever hear them talking. That is a great disadvantage. But it is an enormous advantage in another way in human relations. They come into the presence of somebody they don't know. They have inner images. And those inner images give them a more or less complete information about the psychology of the problem.
Carl Jung's words offer a rare insight into the world of the intuitive introvert. Those who see beyond the surface, who sense things others cannot, yet often struggle to be understood. But what did Jung really mean by this? Why is this type so rare? And what makes their inner world so unique? Let's explore his ideas further and uncover the deeper meaning behind this fascinating perspective. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not just any mirror, but one that reflects every facet of who you are, the good and the bad, the known and the unknown. How would it feel to see all of yourself? The passions you celebrate and the secrets you hide, the fantasies you once buried and the fears you pretend don't exist. In this moment, a quiet voice within might ask, is there more to me than meets the eye? The short answer is yes. Beneath the layers of your conscious self lies something deeper, something Carl Jung called the shadow. It's a realm where repressed desires, unacknowledged talents, and unresolved emotions gather, waiting to be recognized. But most of us lock that door, convinced we can keep our unwanted pieces locked away forever. What if unlocking that door is the key to living a more authentic, empowered life? And what if in the process, you discover a hidden spark that transforms your understanding of who you are and what you're capable of? If these questions make you feel a little uneasy, then welcome to the club. Self-discovery isn't always comfortable, but it is incredibly rewarding. In today's documentary journey, we'll dive deep into Carl Jung's shadow self, why it exists, how it shapes our decisions, and what it means for those who tread life's path with heightened sensitivity and intuition. The intuitive introverts, ready to travel beyond the obvious, to shine a light into your own psychological basement? Let's begin. Carl Gustav Jung was no stranger to the mysteries of the human mind. A Swiss psychiatrist born in 1875, Jung first collaborated with Sigmund Freud, one of the most influential thinkers in modern psychology. But where Freud emphasized the repressed sexual and aggressive impulses within the unconscious, Jung broadened the picture. He envisioned the psyche as an ever-evolving ecosystem with multiple layers. The ego, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious, the latter holding universal archetypes shared across humanity. Yet for our focus today, the most striking piece of Jung's legacy is the shadow. In essence, the shadow represents the parts of ourselves we'd rather hide, traits we dislike, impulses we consider unacceptable, and even unfulfilled potentials that don't align with our consciously curated identity. Jung believed the shadow was crucial to understanding the whole person, precisely because it is the unseen side of our psyche. Picture your mind as a grand theater. On stage, you perform the roles you've chosen: friend, spouse, student, professional, artist, parent. You control the spotlight, directing attention to the aspects of yourself you're proud of. But behind the curtain, in the wings or the dark corridors backstage, lurk the disowned characters, the shadow cast. These are the selves you either can't or won't acknowledge. Why does this matter? Jung found that when the shadow remains unacknowledged, it often manifests in unconscious behaviors, projection, sabotage, or recurring emotional turmoil. You might insist you're never angry, only to explode under trivial stress. You might blame others for your shortcomings, never realizing that what irritates you about them is actually a repressed quality in yourself. It's important to note that the shadow isn't a mere dumping ground for your worst impulses. It can also be a repository for your unrealized gifts. Maybe there's a creative spark you dismissed as childish, or an entrepreneurial ambition you've convinced yourself you're not brave enough to pursue. All of that, too, can end up in the shadow. Jung emphasized that integrating the shadow is not about erasing it. Instead, it's about shining a gentle light on our hidden corners, accepting them, and finding a way to incorporate them into a balanced sense of self. In Jung's own life, after his break with Freud, he underwent a profound period of introspection, often referred to as his confrontation with the unconscious. During this time, he experienced visions and recorded them in the Red Book, a richly illustrated journal of fantasies and reflections. It was from this deeply personal ordeal that much of his understanding of the unconscious, including the shadow, truly crystallized. Let's shine the spotlight now on intuitive introverts, those who live in a world of ideas, patterns, and hunches, yet crave solitude to recharge their mental and emotional batteries. If you identify with personality frameworks like the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator MBI, you might see this reflected in having the letters I introversion and N intuition in your type, e.g. INFJ, INFP, INTJ, INTP. What does it mean to be an introvert with a dominant intuitive function? Depth over breadth. Intuitive introverts tend to favor depth over breadth in their relationships and interests. They'd rather have a few profoundly meaningful connections than a wide network of superficial ones. Inner landscapes. The mind of an intuitive introvert is often busy with ideas, dreams, creative impulses, or philosophical questions. Time alone can feel like an adventure in a vast internal universe. Subtle energies. Many intuitive introverts are highly attuned to emotional undercurrents. Walk into a room, and they might immediately sense tension or unspoken dynamics. Potential pitfalls. This heightened introspection can become a breeding ground for overthinking and perfectionism. The intuitive introvert may spend hours ruminating over a single conversation, analyzing tone, subtext, and body language. Now, how does the shadow interact with the intuitive introvert? Because introverts naturally turn inward, they can be more conscious of their emotional world. Yet being aware isn't the same as being comfortable with everything that arises. Sometimes it's tempting to push away darker feelings, anger, jealousy, fear, because acknowledging them feels overwhelming. As a result, these traits sink deeper into the shadow. But that's not all. Intuitive introverts keen on exploring possibilities may also abandon certain gifts if they perceive them as socially unacceptable or impractical. That might look like refusing to share a unique talent, ignoring a visionary idea, or neglecting a leadership impulse because they fear the spotlight. These untapped potentials land right in the shadow's domain. So if you're an intuitive introvert, think of your shadow as a hidden library. It's not just a junk closet stuffed with negative traits. It's a storehouse of repressed power, creativity, and insight. Accessing it, while sometimes uncomfortable, can lead to an extraordinary sense of wholeness and purpose. The notion of confronting what we've locked away can seem daunting. However, Jung believed that shadow integration is the key to individuation, a process of becoming fully ourselves rather than living as a fragmented being. Below are actionable steps to help you navigate your own shadow, especially if you resonate with being an intuitive introvert. Jung frequently warned that what we deny internally, we tend to project externally. This happens when we see in others what we refuse to see in ourselves. Perhaps you're quick to label someone as insecure, lazy, or unrealistic. Before you judge them, ask yourself if those labels might reflect your own repressed issues or hidden desires. Real-life example. Sarah, a self-identified INFJ, found herself increasingly annoyed with a coworker who seemed to flaunt her achievements. After introspection, Sarah realized she secretly longed to feel proud of her own accomplishments and even craved acknowledgement. By admitting this to herself, she discovered that her annoyance was partly fueled by her own unmet desire for recognition. This epiphany allowed her to stop blaming her coworker and start asserting her own worth. Journaling is both an introvert sanctuary and an intuitive's playground. It offers a safe space to record and explore the complexities within. Try prompts like, which traits do I dislike most in others and why? What dreams or aspirations do I shy away from? When did I last feel deeply ashamed or guilty? And what triggered it? By recording these thoughts, patterns emerge. You may discover hidden themes like unacknowledged frustration, repressed ambition, or a recurring fear of abandonment. Shine a light on them, and they lose some of their destructive power. In the dance between introspection and perfectionism, intuitive introverts can be painfully self-critical. When digging into the shadow, that tendency might intensify. Remember, self-compassion is crucial. This means replacing judgment with curiosity. Instead of saying, I hate myself for feeling jealous, try, I notice I feel jealous. What can this teach me about what I truly value? We all have shortcomings, but they don't define us. They're clues pointing toward unmet needs or unresolved wounds. Solitude can be a double-edged sword for introverts. Yes, you need alone time to recharge, but be mindful not to use it solely for avoidance. In your solitude, experiment, meditate, create art, take reflective walks in nature. Notice what surfaces. Does anxiety creep in? Does inspiration strike? Do old memories bubble up? If, on the other hand, you find yourself retreating from every challenge or difficult emotion, check whether you're avoiding an essential confrontation with your shadow. Jung's method of active imagination is a powerful tool for bridging the conscious mind and the unconscious. Set aside a quiet half hour. Let your mind wander or focus on a troubling dream or emotion. If you notice a mental image, a figure, an animal, a scene, engage with it. Ask it questions. Listen to its answers. Record the dialogue in a journal. This might sound unusual, but it's a way to give form to the formless. You're allowing the unconscious to speak in symbols, stories, and metaphors, a language it knows best. Insight without action can turn stagnant. It's one thing to realize you have a repressed desire to lead or create. It's another to actually do it. Start small, but commit to real-world changes. For instance, if you've discovered a hidden passion for painting, buy a set of brushes and devote an hour a week to it. If you realize you're constantly overshadowed at work, practice speaking up in meetings. Once per week, at least. Each time you make a tangible shift in your behavior, you reinforce the idea that these reclaimed parts of yourself have a rightful place in the light. Shadow work can unearth deep wounds and traumas. If you find yourself overwhelmed, consider seeking a therapist trained in Jungian or depth psychology. They can offer guidance, support, and a structured approach to navigating your unconscious. Remember, asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of self-respect and courage. Despite its allure, shadow work isn't always straightforward. Let's dispel a few common myths and highlight potential pitfalls. Myth: shadow work is only about dark emotions. Reality: the shadow holds both negative traits, anger, envy, shame, and unlived potentials, talents, longings, boldness. It's a vault of everything not consciously claimed. Myth: once integrated, the shadow disappears. Reality: the shadow never truly vanishes. Integration is an ongoing process of acknowledgement and dialogue with these hidden parts. You learn to coexist with them, not eradicate them. Myth: shadow work is quick and easy. Reality: it can be emotionally intense and lengthy. Sometimes you peel back one layer of the shadow only to discover deeper layers. Progress often comes in cycles, not in a single leap. Pitfall: over-identification. Some people, in an attempt to honor their repressed traits, swing too far and let the shadow take over. True integration is about balance, recognizing your anger, for instance, but not letting it define you. Pitfall: getting stuck in self-blame. Delving into repressed material can trigger shame spirals. Remember, the goal is understanding and acceptance, not blaming yourself. Pitfall: isolation. Introverts, especially, might go too deep into self-analysis and lose touch with external reality. Seek out safe, supportive relationships to discuss your revelations. A validating conversation with a trusted friend or mentor can help ground you. By being aware of these misconceptions and potential traps, you can approach shadow work with greater clarity and resilience. Throughout culture and time, we find echoes of the shadow in myths, legends, and art. From the Greek tragedies, where characters like Oedipus or Medea become ensnared by their fates in part due to unconscious, unacknowledged impulses, to modern superhero narratives like Batman's internal battle with vengeance and fear, the theme is consistent. We see heroes grappling with a hidden darkness that, once integrated, becomes a source of strength or at least deeper wisdom. Consider the myth of Persephone, who is abducted into the underworld. On the surface, it's a story of loss and rebirth. Symbolically, it represents the human psyche's journey into the underworld of unconscious forces, only to emerge transformed. Persephone's time in the darkness changes her, granting her new awareness and power. In a similar vein, journeying into our personal underworld, our shadow, can lead to a rebirth of sorts, unveiling facets of ourselves we never knew existed. Jung famously emphasized the role of dreams in revealing the unconscious. Dreams often personify the shadow as an antagonist or a mysterious figure. For example, you might dream of being chased by a threatening presence. That presence might represent a repressed emotion or desire, urging you to face it rather than run away. By journaling these dreams and reflecting on their symbolism, you can glean insights into your shadow's current status in your psyche. In Eastern philosophy, the concept of yin and yang reflects a cosmic duality: light and dark, masculine and feminine, active and passive. The balanced interplay between these forces echoes Jung's idea of integration. Wholeness emerges from accepting all aspects, not just the ones we find palatable. Similarly, in many indigenous cultures, the concept of a trickster spirit surfaces in folklore. Trickster figures embody chaos and mischief, but also creativity and transformation. They can represent the unconscious elements that disrupt our orderly lives, forcing us to confront what we'd rather ignore. These stories endure because they speak to a universal truth: that within each of us lie hidden dimensions, sometimes frightening, sometimes brilliant, but always essential to our fullness as human beings. Let's explore a couple more real-life scenarios to illustrate how shadow work and intuition can converge in profound ways. Jonas, the silent artist. Jonas always felt out of place in his business-focused family. A quiet child, he excelled at drawing but kept it secret, fearing ridicule. As an adult, he entered a corporate job to please his parents. Over time, he became listless and resentful, snapping at colleagues for trivial reasons. In therapy, he discovered his repressed creative self in the shadow, a powerful passion that was abandoned years ago. Gradually, Jonas allowed himself to paint again. He started small, dedicating weekends to artistic pursuits. This creative liberation decreased his workplace irritability, and in time, he even found a way to combine art with community outreach, carving a career path that felt authentic. He realized that the anger was an alarm bell, signaling how vital his shadow's creativity was to his overall well-being. Maria, The overanalyzing introvert, Maria, an INFP, frequently ruminated on her interactions with friends. If she perceived even a slight shift in someone's tone, she would panic, convinced she'd done something wrong. This consumed her mental energy and led to social withdrawal. By journaling daily, Maria uncovered a hidden belief. I'm not worthy of genuine friendship. This underlying insecurity was fueling her overanalysis. Recognizing this self-sabotaging script in her shadow, she started therapy, practiced self-compassion meditations, and gradually became more transparent with her friends about her anxieties. To her surprise, her friends were supportive, validating her feelings rather than rejecting her. Through this process, Maria integrated the part of her that felt unworthy. She still notices pangs of self-doubt, but now she gently acknowledges them and moves forward, no longer allowing them to dominate her choices. These examples highlight that the shadow can contain both wounding and untapped brilliance. For Jonas, it was repressed creativity fueling anger. For Maria, it was an unspoken sense of unworthiness fueling overanalysis. In each case, confronting the shadow became the catalyst for profound growth. We've covered general shadow work strategies. Now let's dive deeper into techniques particularly suited for intuitive introverts who crave meaningful self-exploration, but might also get stuck in their heads. While intuitive introverts excel at introspection, a lack of structure can lead to rumination loops. Consider using a daily or weekly framework. Mind-body check-in. Ask yourself, how do I feel physically, emotionally, mentally? Highlight and lowlight. Write down one success from the day and one area of challenge. Shadow prompt. Pose a direct question. What is one thing I didn't want to admit today? Keeping it structured prevents you from drifting aimlessly through your thoughts and provides targeted moments for shadow awareness. Intuitive introverts can sense patterns without concrete evidence. This is a gift, but it can also lead to assumptions. Balance your intuition with tangible information. If you sense tension in a friend, ask them politely if something's wrong instead of assuming you upset them. This approach fosters healthier communication and keeps your shadow from running wild with worst-case narratives. Rather than forcing yourself into large group events that drain you, focus on quality over quantity. Choose small gatherings or one-on-one meetups where you can engage in meaningful conversation. Use these interactions as opportunities to observe any feelings of discomfort, envy, or judgment that might surface. These emotions are potential windows into your shadow. Engage in creative activities that allow you to express unfiltered emotions. Whether it's painting, writing poetry, composing music, or even gardening, give yourself permission to channel the messy parts of your psyche into form. Sometimes, the shadow communicates through symbols and metaphors more easily than through logical, linear thought. Even the most introverted among us need some community. Look for online or in-person groups that share your interests, perhaps a book club, a writing workshop, or a spirituality-focused meetup. Authentic connections can help you test the waters of vulnerability. By sharing aspects of your inner world in a supportive environment, you learn to accept them more fully yourself. When the intuitive introvert learns to work with the shadow rather than deny it, remarkable transformations can occur. Enhanced creativity, tapping into repressed emotions or desires can unleash creative energies you never knew you had. Healthier relationships. Recognizing your projections and owning your insecurities can dissolve walls between you and loved ones. Clarity of purpose. Integrating the shadow often clarifies what truly matters to you, stripping away the superficial shoulds imposed by society. Greater self-confidence. Embracing both your light and dark sides fosters a grounded sense of self-worth, unshaken by external validation or criticism. Can you imagine living a life where your self-doubt becomes a teacher, guiding you to hidden strengths, rather than a tyrant that keeps you small? The shadow, as Jung posited, is both dangerous and profoundly enriching. It's dangerous because ignorance of it can lead to self-destruction through unacknowledged rage, jealousy, or fear. Yet it's enriching because the very same energies once recognized can become sources of empathy, creativity, and personal power. Picture a detective novel where the culprit is hidden in the darkest corners of the story. The suspense holds your attention, driving you to solve the mystery. Your shadow is that mystery, and you are the detective. By exploring your hidden motives, secrets, and yearnings, you gradually piece together the puzzle of your own psyche. We've embarked on a far-reaching exploration, from Jung's foundational ideas about the shadow to the nuanced inner world of the intuitive introvert, culminating in practical strategies for self-integration. We've seen how ignoring our shadow can harm us, fueling projections, sabotaging relationships, stifling creativity, while embracing it can unlock a profound sense of wholeness. Think back to the mirror we imagined at the start. Could you stand before it now, reflecting on every part of who you are? Without turning away, could you acknowledge the quiet anger, the secret ambition, the unspoken dream? And could you also celebrate the parts of you that shine? Your empathy, your resilience, your vivid imagination? Shadow work isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully you. It means recognizing the hidden shapes in your soul, shining a compassionate light on them, and daring to bring them into your everyday life. For intuitive introverts, the call to self-examination is strong, but the rewards are measurable. A newfound harmony between your inner vision and your outer reality, a deeper bond with others, and a life guided by genuine self-knowledge rather than unconscious fear. As we close this chapter, consider these parting thoughts. Self-discovery is a lifelong journey, not a one-time event. Each chapter of your life may reveal new facets of your shadow and new treasures awaiting liberation. Fear is natural, but remember that the monsters under the bed are often far less terrifying once you shine a light on them. Balance introspection with action. Bring your insights into the world through bold, creative steps, however small. Stay open and curious. The most extraordinary revelations often come when you least expect them. Who might you become if you made peace with every part of you? Dark and light, timid and bold, rational and intuitive. And how might that newfound harmony ripple outward into your relationships, your work, and the very path you walk through life? Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Carl Jung's shadow self and the intricate psychology of the intuitive introvert. If this journey has sparked questions, excitement, or even a bit of trepidation, know that you're exactly where you need to be. True self-discovery isn't always easy, but the beauty and the freedom it brings is well worth the courage it requires. Until next time, keep looking inward with honesty and compassion, and remember, the parts of yourself you fear the most might just hold the keys to your greatest power.